Hello guys, hope all of you are well in this difficult situation. Welcome to my lecture series. Let me introduce myself first. I'm Rinki Bhaumik, Assistant Professor, Department of Physics, JIS College of Engineering. Today's lecture is for first year. For first year, the paper name is Physics 1 and the paper code is EH101. The name of the paper is Physics 1 and 3 credits. There will be 3 lectures per week. Total 36 number of lectures will be there for all of you. This is for BTech first year as I said. Now let me show you your syllabus. This is your syllabus. First, this is module 1. In module 1, there is waves and oscillation. In module 2, there is classical optics where we have to discuss about interference of light and diffraction of light. In module 3, there is quantum mechanics 1 where we'll discuss about quantum theory and quantum mechanics. In module 4, there is solid state physics 1 where we'll discuss about crystal structure and semiconductors. And in the last module, that is module 5, we'll discuss about modern optics where there is laser and fiber optics. So this is your syllabus and these are some books which is recommended for all of you.
Damped harmonic motion. If we plot the position versus time of a simple harmonic oscillator, such as an ideal spring, we see that the graph has a constant amplitude. The amplitude stays the same throughout the motion. In an ideal case, this motion would continue forever, until the oscillator was acted on by a force that changed its motion. This is because, for the ideal simple harmonic oscillator, the total mechanical energy stays the same. Remember that total mechanical energy is the sum of the kinetic and potential energies. In the case of our ideal spring, if we ignore gravity for now, there is only translational kinetic energy and elastic potential energy. When the spring is at its highest, most compressed point, it has stored elastic potential energy only. As it moves downward, it converts some of that elastic potential energy into kinetic energy. At the equilibrium position, the energy is all kinetic with no elastic potential energy. In its stretched position farthest from equilibrium, it has converted that kinetic energy back into elastic potential energy. And as it moves back upward, it converts elastic potential energy back into kinetic energy, and so on. The mechanical energy is conserved in the ideal spring in this way. In reality, though, there's friction in a spring. As a spring moves, some of its kinetic energy is converted into heat energy through that friction, so that a compressed spring will not stretch as much as it was compressed, and it will continue to store less and less elastic potential energy as time goes on, until it comes to rest at its equilibrium position again. The amplitude is not constant in this type of motion. This type of motion is called damped harmonic motion. where the damping is the decrease in the amplitude of the motion over time. In damped harmonic motion, the smallest amount of damping that will bring the oscillator back to equilibrium is called the critical damping. When the amount of damping in a system is less than the critical damping value, the motion is underdamped. And when the amount of damping is greater than the critical value, the system is overdamped. As you can see, a system takes the longest amount of time to reach equilibrium when it is overdamped. There are many mechanisms and forces that we will talk about that can contribute to damping in an oscillating system.
So last day we started damped vibration, and there we discussed about overdamping and critical damping. Okay. Now today we are going to discuss about the third condition, that is your small damping. Small damping. The small damping we already discussed, means the condition I already said, that was b square less than omega square. So b square less than omega square is the condition. Now the general equation we had x1 equal to a1 e to the power minus b plus root over of b square minus omega square into t plus a2 into e to the power minus b minus root over of b square minus omega square into t. So this was the equation we derived in our last lecture. Now if we apply b square less than omega square, what we can get? You see, if b square is less than omega square, okay, then what we can get? B square minus omega square less than 0, isn't it? So can we write b square minus omega square equal to I into omega square minus b square? That will be root over of. So I into root over of omega square minus b square, if we put before it, I consider it as IB, where beta equal to root over of omega square minus b square. That is simple, we consider. So therefore x equal to a1 e to the power minus b plus I beta into t, okay, plus a2 into e to the power minus b minus I beta into t, that is equal to e to the power minus bt into a1 e to the power I beta t plus a2 into e to the power minus I beta into t is equal to e to the power minus bt a1 e to the power I beta t means cos beta t plus I sin beta t plus a2 into cos beta t minus I sin beta t, because e to the power I theta means cos theta plus I sin theta, and e to the power minus I theta means cos theta minus I sin theta. So this is by the expansion we can get this line. Now what we can get from this line? It is nothing but equal to e to the power minus bt into a1 cos beta t plus a1 I sin beta t plus a2 cos beta t minus I into a2 sin beta t. So from this line what we can get ultimately, that is nothing but equal to e to the power minus bt into a1 plus a2 cos beta t plus I into a1 minus a2 sin beta t. It is equal to e to the power minus bt into a sin phi cos beta t plus a cos phi sin beta t. It is equal to, finally, if we consider, say, a1 plus a2 is equal to a sin phi. Similarly, I into a1 minus a2 equal to a cos phi. If you put these two over here, then finally x equal to a e to the power minus bt into, we can get as sin of omega t plus, that will be actually beta t, okay, beta t plus phi is equal to a e to the power minus bt sin of, beta means root over of omega square minus b square into t plus phi. So x equal to this. This is the solution. Okay. Now one interesting thing is that here the amplitude is a e to the power minus bt. The general equation as we know for SHL is x equal to a sin omega t plus phi. Now all the term here we are getting like omega t, instead of omega the frequency has changed to root over of omega square minus b square, and there is also a phase difference which is phi, but there is a amplitude that is a to the power minus bt instead of a. That means since there is an exponential term, that means the amplitude will be decreased. So that's why it is called actually small damping. Means at when t equal to infinite, the amplitude goes to 0. So we have to check that which kind of figure we can get if we plot it in the figure. So suppose this is your x, this is your time, and this is your displacement x. Now if we plot it, then finally we can get like this. So by the time when it will be going, then at the end the amplitude will be 0, means x will be like this. Okay, so why we are the curve has started from this point? Because if you put here t equal to 0, then what we are getting, that a definite value, that is a. Okay, so x equal to a. Suppose this is the amplitude a or the displacement a. So that's why we have put here. So this is a, and thus by the time it keeps decreasing. So this is the curve of the small damping. Now from this equation we will derive some physical quantity like logarithmic decrement and all that. So let's start the discussion. Now first we'll start with a new term that is called logarithmic decrement. Logarithmic decrement, what is this? Actually the amplitude we already have derived a to the power minus t. Now when this is the amplitude now when t equal to 0 the amplitude a0 equal to a. Now when t equal to capital T, 2t, 3t, the amplitude be like a1, a2, a3, so on. So therefore a1 equal to a1 gives us a e to the power minus bt, because when if you put here instead of small t, if you put capital T, then a e to the power minus bt. Now a2 equal to a e to the power minus 2 bt, because instead of small t here we can put here 2t. So a e to the power minus 2 bt. Then a3 equal to a e to the power minus 3 b capital T, and so on. Now why we are doing this calculation? What is logarithmic decrement? Okay, so to find it we actually have to find the ratio of the amplitudes, like a0 by a1 equal to a1 by a2, so equal to a2 by a3. Now if you go for a0 by a1, then what you are getting? E to the power plus b capital T. Now if we do a1 by a2, then what you are getting? E to the power plus bt. Again a2 by a3, if you do, then you are getting e to the power plus capital B, small b capital T. So it will be equal to e to the power b capital T is equal to e to the power lambda. So therefore where bt equal to lambda we can consider. Now interestingly, if we take both sides log, then what we are getting, that is log lambda, means log a0 by a1 is equal to, if we take log of e to the power lambda, then what we are getting as lambda equal to log of a0 by a1. And similarly is equal to log of a1 by a2 is equal to log of a2 by a3, and so on. Hence logarithmic decrement may be defined as the natural logarithm of the ratio between the two successive amplitudes which are separately by one period of oscillation. One period of oscillation means a0 by a1, that means one period of oscillation. a0 by a1 by a2, that is also one period of oscillation. a2 by a3, so the difference is one period, that we are actually trying to say. So hence logarithmic decrement may be defined as the natural logarithm. You see, natural logarithm means this is the log and logarithm of the ratio between two successive amplitudes. That means successive amplitude means a0 by a1, and also if you do a1 by a2 log of a2 by a3, then we can get also lambda. So lambda equal to log of a0 by a1 and so on. This is nothing but the logarithmic decrement. Now our next discussion is on relaxation time. Okay, what is the relaxation time? Relaxation time. Relaxation time, to calculate it, we first have to know about the energy. The energy expression is E equal to half mu into a square e to the power minus 2 bt. This is the energy expression. E equal to half e to the power half mu a square e to the power minus 2 bt. Now at t equal to 0, E equal to E0 equal to half mu into a square. Okay, so E equal to nothing but E0 e to the power minus 2 into bt, where E0 equal to half mu a square. Therefore finally we are getting E equal to E0 e to the power minus 2 bt. Up to this I hope clear. Now suppose we are considering small t equal to tau. Small t equal to tau, where tau is called nothing but the relaxation time. Tau is nothing but called the relaxation time. Now E equal to E0 by E equal to E0 e to the power minus 2b into tau. So therefore e to the power minus 1 equal to e to the power minus 2b tau. So therefore tau equal to 1 by 2b. Now how we can write it? Because relaxation time is that time for which the amplitude becomes 1 by e of its initial value. Now you see, initial value is not E0. Initial value, if it is E0, then if E0 is the initial value, then E equal to E0 by E means exponential at the time tau, means that is the relaxation time. So at the relaxation time tau, the energy becomes 1 by E of its initial value. Okay, so that is at the time small t equal to capital tau. So we can write E0 e to the power minus 2b into tau. Therefore e to the power minus 1 equal to e to the power minus 2b into tau. So therefore tau equal to 1 by 2. So this is nothing but gives us the relaxation time. This is the expression of the relaxation time. So if we know the damping value of the damping constant means B, then we can get the corresponding relaxation time. So if the definition we have to give, then what we have to write actually? We have to write, the definition will be like it is defined as defined as the time taken by an oscillator to decrease its energy to 1 by E of its initial value. So this is the definition of the relaxation time. Now the last topic for today is quality factor. This is also a derivation, okay? Quality factor. Now how to define it? Quality factor. First, I am giving you just the formula. Q equal to 2 pi into energy stored in the system divided by energy lost per period. So therefore we can write it as 2 pi into E by capital P into tau. Now each term we know P is the power, tau is the relaxation time and E is the energy. Okay, so we can here write it like equal to 2 pi into E divided by capital tau into T. Since P equal to E by tau. So therefore 2 pi into E into, if E will be gone obviously, then finally we can write 2 pi into tau divided by capital T is equal to omega into tau. So this is the expression of the quality factor, that is capital Q. Capital Q equal to omega into tau. Now therefore the definition we can write as the quality factor of a damped harmonic oscillator is defined as pi times the ratio of the energy stored in the system to the energy lost energy lost per period. So this is the definition. So thus we can define the quality factor, where the formula is Q equal to 2 pi into energy stored in the system divided by energy lost per period, and finally we have got the expression Q equal to omega into tau. So thus we can get the logarithmic decrement, this is a quantity, then we can get relaxation time tau equal to 1 by 2b, then we can get the quality factor, this is another. So this is about the total damped vibration. All these topics we have to know well. So thank you for today.